I'm Sharon Abaud, immigration attorney in Los Angeles, California. I'm here today, as I am every Tuesday, live on Facebook to answer your questions. I wasn't here last week, as a little exception, but I'm here this week, and we're continuing our weekly Facebook Live events. This is a great opportunity for you to ask all your immigration questions. If you have an immigration question that you want the answer to, this is a great place to ask and get the answer right away. It's also, I want to remind you all that this is a public forum, so I ask that you not put your private information here. You try to keep questions as general as possible because I cannot keep your information confidential here. I do want to remind you that I'm here live in English every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time, and in Spanish every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. You can always find me here on Facebook Live, and I want to ask you guys to go ahead and like and follow my page so that every time I'm here live and ready to answer your question, you get the notification that I'm here and that I really want to help you guys and answer your questions. And I would hate for you to miss it again and have to wait another week. So go ahead and like and follow, and make sure you share with your friends in our community, because there are many people who may benefit from this information. There's so many times that people have come to my office and didn't know that they qualified for something until they saw a video about it. It happens a lot. And what's really sad is when, they could have qualified for something in the past, but that opportunity was missed because they didn't know soon enough. So really important to share, like, and follow. And I'm really happy to be here to answer all your immigration questions. I see that I already have a few questions here that I will happily answer in just a minute. And I want to ask all of you, if you have an immigration question, this is your chance to ask and get an answer. I also want to remind you guys that if you want me to review your case, or you want a consultation, you don't know if you qualify for something, or you know you qualify for something and you want my help, I'm happy to help. You can call me at 310-803-3040. You can also go to my website. It's actually in English, aboutlegal.com, not ES. And you can make an appointment there to speak with me in person about your case. Okay, so let's move on to our questions. I have a question from Ahab, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. She wants to know if a U.S. citizen file an I-130 for his parents while he and his parents are living outside of the U.S. So filing an I-130 for someone who is living outside of the U.S. shouldn't be an issue. The problem isn't filing the I-130 in and of itself. The problem comes when, after the I-130 gets approved, the petitioner needs to file what's called the affidavit of support, to show that they will sponsor the person who wants to immigrate in case that and they'll pay for them in case they become a public charge, right? So in order to qualify to file for that affidavit of support, you have to be what's considered domiciled in the United States. You have to live here. You have to show that you live here now, or you're going to live here at some time before or at the same time that the immigrant intends to live here. So if you are living outside of the U.S., and you are petitioning for a family member, the petition part won't be the obstacle. The problem comes after, at the National Visa Center stage and the interview stage, because you won't have that petitioner who qualifies to file the affidavit of support. So that becomes the issue in that situation. Really good question, Ahab. That's really a frequently asked question, and a lot of people do want to know that. What happens a lot in the cases I deal with, often it's a married couple who lives abroad. They met abroad and they lived abroad for some years, and now they're, ready to try a life here in the United States. And so I help them from outside of the U.S. Prepare the whole, case. And then what happens is we need to show proof that the petitioner, since they're not living here, right? We have to show proof that the petitioner is going to live here either before or at the same time as the immigrant. So we would show proof. Maybe they're applying for jobs here, maybe they already have living arrangements, but in those situations, we have to show proof that the person who is petitioning and sponsoring, that they do have the intent to live here. So really great question. I do want to remind all of you watching now that if you have an immigration question, you can go ahead and comment with that question and I will happily answer it for you. I also want to remind you to go ahead and like and follow my page so that you get a notification every time I'm here live. I'm here every single Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time answering your questions live. You just type your question and I answer it right away. I do want to remind you not to put any of your private information. I can't keep it confidential here. This is a public forum and anyone could be watching. So I ask that you be mindful of that and just keep your questions general. If you do want me to look over your individual case and you want me to look over your personal information, then you should probably schedule a consultation to speak with me. And that's really easy to do. You can call 310-803-3040 to schedule an appointment, or you can go to my website, which is www.aboudlegal.com. Okay, so we have another question from Melissa, and she says, how long does the embassy take to respond to green card residents who have filed for the wife and children? So not sure what stage you're talking about here. Sounds like your I-130 was approved and you're waiting to hear from MVC. You won't hear from MVC until you get an approval. Okay, you have to get an approval and you also have to have a visa immediately available. Now, if your I-130 was approved, Melissa, and I know that right now the visa should be current because the spouses and children, minor children of residents those visas are current right now. So that shouldn't be the issue that you're waiting for a visa to become available. Your MVC notice should come if your case just got approved and you're waiting for MVC to contact you. That should take about 30 days for MVC to contact you. Typically it's by email. Sometimes if there's no email, sometimes they do send paper notices, but typically it's email. So you want to check for that. If you have an attorney of record, your attorney of record would be receiving that as well. So something to be mindful of. And that's a great question. The other possibility that you might be asking me, Melissa, is that you already sent all your documents to MVC. You paid your fee bills, you sent them the applications. And hi, Fabian, nice to see you here again. And you sent everything to immigration, and now you're just waiting for your interview abroad. If that's the case, I can't really answer that question because it really depends on the embassy where you're going to have the interview. For example, Mexico right now is taking almost over a year to give out interviews. So if you have to go to the U.S. Embassy in Mexico for your interview, hi, Hector, sure, you can ask your questions here. So if you have, if you sent your papers to MBC, once you send everything and they accepted it, it could take over a year in Mexico to get your interview scheduled. But again, that really depends on, hi, Michelle, nice to see you again. It really depends on what country you are planning to have the interview. So that is, my answer to your MVC timing question. Whether it's before you start everything with MVC or after, this process can take some time, and it really depends on where you plan to have your interview. So while we're waiting for more questions here, I want to remind all of you to go ahead and like and follow my page, and that way you receive a notification every time I'm here live. I am here live every single Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and you don't want to miss it because this is your chance to get your questions answered right away. I get a lot of messages in my inbox and in the comments during the week, and it's really hard for me to answer that way, but this way I'm able to answer you guys right away. Make sure you don't miss it. Like and follow my page so that I can have a way to answer your questions right here live. And if I do want to remind you, this is a public forum, so I don't want you guys to start putting out all this private information. If you want me to assess your individual case, you should probably schedule a consultation with me. I would be happy to speak to you about your case. You can do that by calling 310-803-3040 or by going to my website, which is www.aboudlegal.com. All right, so we have some more hellos here. Hector to know, hola Adriana, bendiciones para usted, saludos. Hector wants to know, he wants to know if there's a way to become a resident and came like 23 years ago. So Hector, I would recommend, if you haven't already spoken to an immigration attorney, maybe this is a great chance for you to schedule a consultation with me, because I don't know from what you're telling me if you would qualify for something. There's this myth out there that if you've been living in the US, I don't know where it came from, but if you've been living in the US for 10 years, that you qualify to become a resident, and it's not true. There are many ways to immigrate in the United States, though, and you may qualify for one, and there's no way you'll know unless you consult with an immigration attorney who can ask you all the right questions to see if there's some way we could help. I do these consultations, and you can easily schedule an appointment by calling 310-803-3040 or by going to my website, aboutlegal.com. So that would be my advice to you, because from what you're telling me, I don't know if I can help you. I would love to help you, but I don't know from what you're telling me if I can. So thank you for sharing that. And then I also want to remind everyone to like and follow my page so that you get a notification when I'm here live next time. What happens a lot is that during the recorded videos, I end up getting comments and messages from later, and it's usually because you missed me and you weren't able to ask me live and get your answer right away. This is the best way to get your answer, to make sure you come to these live videos so that you can just ask and get your answer. And then, of course, if you have a case that you want to talk to me about, or you just don't know if you qualify for something and you've never spoken to someone before and you don't know if you qualify for anything, then you should probably schedule a consultation. You can do that by calling 310-803-3040 or by going to my website, aboutlegal.com. We have some time left, and I will wait a few more minutes for a few more questions to come. And Michelle has a question for me. Hello, Michelle. You're saying it takes a year to get the appointment in the consular. Do you know if it's good to put all the applications before you get approved the I-601A? So the way it works, Michelle, is that you have to, what Michelle is talking about, so if you are immigrating someone who came to the US illegally and you don't qualify to immigrate in the United States, that means you're going to have to go to an interview outside of the US. What happens is that when you leave the US to go to your interview, you're going to get denied because you were unlawfully present in the US for more than 1 year and you left the United States. And by leaving, you now have a 10-year bar. You can be stuck outside the US for a very long time. So what we do is we file what's called a provisional waiver. That's the I-601A. And what that is we have to show hardship to a US citizen or resident, spouse or parent, that they would suffer if this person were not allowed to stay. And once that case is approved, then we follow up with a consular case and we schedule for the interview abroad. What Michelle wants to know is if there's a way, if she could do all the NBC stuff before the I-601A approval. You actually would need to send all that stuff to NBC. So you need to put your case on hold with National Visa Center until that gets approved, and then you can move forward because they need that. But yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense to be able to do that way, but unfortunately it doesn't work that way right now. Good question. And Adriana has a question in Spanish, so I'm going to go ahead and translate. Adriana, le voy a hacer la pregunta en inglés hoy día porque el programa de hoy es en inglés, pero bienvenida a mi programa en español los jueves y feliz le contesto también de nuevo esta pregunta en español si quiere. Adriana has 2 questions. Her husband is a resident a year ago and filed for her and only got the approval notice, and that the case was transferred to another office. Okay, so I don't know I'm guessing it's an I-130 case and it was transferred. So sometimes you get a notice that your case is transferred. So if one office receives it originally and they get really busy, sometimes what can happen is they can transfer it to another office so that just for efficiency reasons. And the fact that I'm guessing by acceptance, she means they got the approval. I would want to talk more with her in the situation because I don't know exactly what is going on here. But if you have, that does happen sometimes, and clients, do kind of get alarmed when that happens because they don't know what's going on. But sometimes if you file, immigration will send you a notice every time they transfer your case to another place. So sometimes that could be that. And Michelle, you're welcome. And thank you for always being here with me. And yes, so I'm here every single Tuesday for those of you watching. This is a great chance for you to ask me your questions and get your answers live. Don't forget to like and follow my page. That way you get notification when I'm here live and you don't miss out on the opportunity to ask me. A lot of times people, ask me in the comments and already I'm not here checking it regularly. So this is the best way to catch me and get your answers about general immigration questions, to catch me here live. Okay, and Sarah, hi Sarah, nice to see you here. She has a question of a case with immigration. I was arrested for not having a driver's license. I have 14 years here in the US. I have no bad record. I have possibilities to fix my immigration status. So I don't know enough. I don't know enough about your case to see if you have possibilities to fix your immigration status. You're welcome to schedule a consultation so that I can do a full screening of you and ask you personal questions to see if you qualify for something. You can schedule that appointment by calling 310-803-3040 or by going on my website at aboutlegal.com. I do phone and Skype consultations if you're not nearby. And I always welcome my in-office clients who want to come see me personally. But just based on the amount of time you have here in the US, there is a myth out there that if you live here 10 years, you qualify for something right away. And that's not true. So, the best thing you could do to find out is to, go to a consultation and see and find out. The fact that you were arrested for not having a driver's license, I would want to maybe know more about that, but it doesn't sound like it's something that would affect your possibilities to immigrate in the future. It really depends on what the actual charge or conviction was. And of course, I would want to make sure that the proceedings were actually terminated, because a lot of times what happens is these simple traffic violations or simple infractions turn into these huge deals, and you end up getting a warrant out for your arrest because you just never finished the matter or never paid the $100 fine or whatever it was, and it turns into something big. So when that happens, then we have a problem a lot of the time. And so I always want to ask about those little incidents, because they can add up. So, but really, thank you for your question. I hope that I can help you, and it's always good to check to make sure. Many times people have come to my office just to check and, found out that maybe they qualified for a U visa, or they qualified for U visa, which is for victims of crimes, or maybe they qualified for VAWA or a different form of relief. And if they didn't come to see me or see an immigration attorney, they wouldn't have known. So really important. And on that note, important that you guys please share this video so that people in your community and people you love can benefit from this information. People in your community might not know they qualify for something, and then by watching these videos, they might learn that they can benefit from something they did not know they could. The saddest thing ever to me is when someone comes to my office and they could have qualified for something a couple of years ago and they just missed that opportunity. And so, these are things that we have to opportunities that we need to take when we have them. Unfortunately, if you don't know you have the opportunity, it's hard to take it. So that would be the first step, is to find out if you qualify for something. And Adriana, por favor, vuelva el jueves. Este programa lo dedico a todos en inglés y jueves lo dedico solamente en español. Así que si llega el jueves a las 6 p.m. tiempo pacífico, le contesto su pregunta en español. Y lo mismo va para Héctor. Muchas gracias por su pregunta. Los días martes me dedico a las preguntas y hablo solamente en inglés para que los que no hablan español entiendan. Y los días jueves me dedico solamente a los que hablan en español. Así que venga a verme el día jueves para recibir respuesta a su pregunta. Hector says he is married, just in case he can understand English as well. Hector says he's married with a citizen, entered the U.S. about 23 years ago, and married for over 18 years. So this isn't enough for me to know if someone qualifies. Sometimes people, ask me, I'm married, is that enough? And I need to do a full screening. This is why it's really important to do a consultation to make sure that we have no other issues. Sometimes we need waivers, sometimes we don't. Sometimes, we can immigrate here. Sometimes we have to immigrate abroad. And sometimes there are other issues that sometimes it's best to maybe wait for a different time to immigrate. So it's always best to get that advice and make sure that you are taking the best path for you. V is asking me, hi, how long could it take for my approval of my papers if my U.S. citizen husband filed for my papers last May? So V, I don't know details about your case. I don't know if you filed for adjustment of status along with that, or if you are waiting by papers if you mean you're waiting for the provisional waiver. I don't know what path you took, and there's no really right answer to how long it should take. If you're immigrating here in the United States, it really depends on the office in which it's pending. So if you filed for an I-485 because you are immigrating here in the United States, that is going to depend on the local office where you will be interviewed. So different offices have different wait times. I can't give you the answer to that. If you are filing because you need to go to an interview abroad, same thing. Different embassies, they take different times to give interviews. So I can't really tell you without knowing more about your case what the time frame should be. I will tell you though that you can check your processing time online at USCIS.gov. I also have some videos on YouTube about this, about how you can check your processing time, and I go step by step. So that's something that you can check out, and I'll remember to put a link for you after this video. So José, hoy los días martes hago todo en inglés. Los días jueves dedico todo mi tiempo a las preguntas en español. Entonces, V clarified something. I'll get back to you, V. José, dedico todas mis preguntas el jueves, así que voy a contar su pregunta ahora en inglés para que me entiendan los que no entienden español. Y si quiere oírlo en español, bienvenido a mi programa el día jueves para hacerme la pregunta. Okay. So V, for the I-130, so you filed it by itself. I'm not sure about the details of your case. If you have to check the processing time on USCIS and see depending on the office where it is, you're going to want to check. So I'll give you the link to that video so you can check the processing time. It's pretty easy, and then that's the best way for you to know what the right time frame should be. If you see that it's over, then you should call USCIS. If you have an attorney, you should have your attorney call for you and check to see why it's over the normal processing time. And Jose asked me, he says he has 2 resident siblings, and he wants to know if they can help him get some type of paper or permit. So unfortunately, a resident sibling cannot help you. Who can help you is a U.S. citizen sibling. So once your resident sibling becomes a U.S. citizen, then they can file an I-130 petition for you. However, that I-130 petition will not be immediately available. That means that you will be put on the wait list. Okay, and depending on what country you're from, times may vary, but you may look at something between 10 to 23 years. So it can be a very, very long wait for the sibling of a U.S. citizen. I always like to see if there's other options, because obviously it's not the best option. Okay, so I see that our questions are winding down. It's been such a joy to be here with you today and to answer your immigration questions. I hope to see you all next week, Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, to answer your immigration questions live. This is the best way to ask me questions, because you just ask me and you get an answer, and you don't have to wait. I do want to remind you to go ahead and like and follow so you don't miss the next show. You get a notification that I'm here live. You can come ask me your question. And I also ask that you guys share. That way others in your community can benefit from this really important information. You never know whose life you might change just by sharing the information that they may not have known. I also remind you that if you want to schedule a consultation so that I can analyze your individual case, you're welcome to call 310-803-3040 or go to my website at aboutlegal.com. It's really easy to schedule an appointment there. I had a lot of fun today. I hope you guys did too. I can't wait to see you guys next week. And I hope you all take care and have a fabulous week. Bye.